pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the Who Dat Nation. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all for being in this episode of the Coma. And like I've been saying for some time now, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. I'm up in this thing. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation. This one entitled Saints Training Camp Day 12 News and Notes. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in this stream as always. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic week as we are at Hump Day and we are on the correct side of this week. And the week has been rolling along. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. On this one, we're going to get to the news notes covered by Saints News Network. Shout out to them. We're going to get on, check out that article. We also going to take a look at another article right here that Bob Rose did, which was really good when he wrote this one the other day, mentioning the options at running back. And I think he did a real good job of kind of sprinkling some game on some of the guys the Saints could be looking at. Now, Kareem Hunt, the latest on him is that Hunt did go to the Colts and he did try out for them or whatever and left without a contract. So we'll see how that all falls if the Saints are interested in bringing him back as well. Okay, we'll cover some news from the Saints as they made a few roster announcements. We'll talk about that. We'll also listen to Dennis Allen's Day 12 breakdown in Colin Saunders, the big guy on the inside, the big nose tackle inside. Like to listen to him. So anyway, for the family members out there, y'all please feel free to lock in to whothatdaily.com for all your latest pro sports news, football, basketball, boxing, college, and pro. St. Pelican, we up in that thing. Shout out to the writers doing a fantastic job. Our editor-in-chief, B, is handling the business of some of the latest articles that'll come in. I think she said they'll have some more articles that'll be coming out tonight as well on boxing and some other stuff that they're working on. So with that being said, fam, let's feel free to jump right in. Y'all, please feel free to spike upon the like button for your boy as we get ready to get going on this episode of The Coma. So let's get right into it. Wednesday, Saints training camp brought us some good football, heavy doses of Jimmy Graham and Taysom Hill. So let's like to hear it go. Let's get it popping. All right. So anyway, the Saints started Wednesday practice indoors, then moved outdoors to finish things up with some family members in the stands looking on. The team wasn't fully padded on the day, but still brought up some good action. A couple of notes there to talk about. On 12, the attendance. Those not spotted at practice, Traquan Smith dealing with a groin. You did hear the news about Rashid Shaheed. According to Nick Underhill, who's suffering with a groin, said the Saints that he was going to miss 2 weeks of football, I think it was. And then there was other reports saying they could possibly keep him out until the start of regular season. We'll see. Demario Davis, once again, was not spotted, dealing with a calf issue. Coda Martin's ankle, with some more news we'll talk about on him. later on. Andrews Pete had a quad issue, Jesse James groin as well, and Lucas Crawl with the tailbone, which, we had some issues there, which would sign, kind of, make note of the fact that that's why the Saints did pick up J.P. Holtz. And Coda Martin was waived as injured. So Coda had an ankle injury, and the Saints been having some problems with their offensive lineman. He was brought in to help with some guys, and then next thing you know, he's now out the door. So the Saints are just going to have to keep on moving along. Start looks and more. The Saints rolled out what we believe might be the starting lineup on the offensive line entering the season. Their unofficial depth chart supported from left to right. Their line consisted of Trevor Penning, James Hurst, and Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Ryan Ramczyk. Now, that's not a bad starting line if Andrew Pete can't go. So we'll see if it continues to be the case. But Pete is working his way back from a quad injury. The second grouping included Landon Young, Nick Sell, DeVary, Max Garcia, Mark Evans II, and Storm Norton. Just stay healthy and keep performing, and you'll get an opportunity the way things are happening with our backup offensive lineman. Defensively, the Saints showed a 4-3 base look with Cam, Malcolm Roach, Nate Shepard, Carl Granderson, on the line. Bourne, Warner, and DeMarco Jackson were a linebacker, Alontae Taylor, and Lattimore on the outside with May and Matthew at safety. The secondary rotation, including passing Brian Breesy, Colin Sanders, and Peyton Turner coming in. 7-on-7s. Defensive groupings to start with Pete Werner, Tyrann Mathieu, Alontae Taylor, Nephi Sewell, Marcus May, Ugo Amadi, and Isaac Yiadom there. And, of course, this is how it broken out. Derek Carr finished 4 for 4 after taking 5 reps in the series. The first play was supposed to be a pass to Kamara, but Carr took off after the good coverage by the Saints. Nephi Sewell and Ugo Amadi did a nice job of covering Kamara. Carr came back to Jimmy Graham up the right seat for a nice game working against Zach Bond. He then found Taysom Hill in the flats near the right sideline for a short gain. Michael Thomas got the next grab for an intermediate gain on the crossing route with Alontae Taylor and Bradley Roby trailing. The final play was a sideline hookup to Taysom Hill that was put into the perfect spot near the left sideline with Jonathan Abrams and Zach Bowen hanging around. It was absolutely one of the best passes of the day. Jameis Winston finished the 3 or 4 on his series, starting with a hookup to J.P. Holtz underneath for a short gain. He hit Brian Edwards on the hitch for the next play for a short game working against Paulson Adebo. The lone incompletion was just a bit off target as he had Keith Kirkwood of the left seam for a deep game, beating DeMarco Jackson and J.T. Gray. And it was one of those that could have benefited from letting the play develop just a fraction longer. Now, Winston's series ended with a sharp connection to Jimmy Graham on the curl route. Jake Haener went 0 for 3 during his little time in there, doing his thing. So he went 0 for 3 in targeting Troy Pride in all 3 reps. Tried a quick pass out to the flats to Jontre Kirkland. He dropped it. Then tried to roll out to the right to A.T. Perry near the sideline in the intermediary, but there was good coverage on the play by Pride. The final pass was, again, to Kirkland near the sideline, but Pride had the breakup, so he kind of had a difficult time trying to find him. Team series number 1, there were primarily runs and inside, but Carr did attempt one pass on the series. Things started with a short run to the right side with Kendre Miller on the play. Nate Shepard looked like he got the best of Trevor Penning on the rep. The next play was a halfback flip to the right, then saw Ryan Ramczyk out to the front to handle Alontae Taylor with ease. It was a short gain that was stopped by DeMarco Jackson. The next play was a short inside run with Jamal Williams that was stopped by Granderson. The long pass came after Carr was flushed out left and tried Keith Kirkwood for an intermediate hookup to the left, but it was overthrown. The Winston series saw him hand off to Kendre Miller to start for a short gain. Williams also had a short carry inside to the right side on a delay that was stopped by Ryan Connolly, the linebacker. Winston went into the gun and flipped it out to right to Kirk Merritt that saw Connolly and Nico Lalos combine for a tackle for a loss. Ellis Merriweather got the final carry of the series but was stuffed inside. Haener went to Merriweather on the first play with an inside zone run for a short gain that followed up with a stretch play to Kirk Merritt on the left side that saw him get to the second level. Kendre Miller got the next attempt outside left that saw Nico Lalos makes the stop. Merriweather got the final carry on the inside stretch play that was stopped by Adrian Fry and Nico Lalos. Team Series 2, the second set of team series was a lot more promising in terms of action, when Carr ended up starting his series by hitting Jimmy Graham on the curl route. Graham ended up catching all 6 targets on the day. Jamal Williams tried to run to the left on the next play that was blown up by Colin Sanders for a loss. Kendre Miller got the next carry left that saw Pete Werner have a nice hit on the process. Carr then went to play action on the next play that was a nice hookup near the right sideline to Chris Olave for an intermediate gain with Alontae Taylor and Lonnie Johnson Jr. around there. And then, of course, Jameis Winston started his series with an inside zone to Alvin Kamara, was where he saw Roach get in the backfield to cause a tackle for a loss. Chris Olave once again had a nice play from after Winston went with the play action and hit him on the comeback route to the left for an intermediate game with Isaac Yiadom and Jonathan Abram around. Next pass attempt was James Washington, who ended up dropping the pass just off his hands. It was a nice throw that he put in a tight window, but Winston was went Nephi Sewell and Paulson Adebo hanging around the area. The final play was one of the best of the day when Brian Bresee appeared to have perfectly timed the snap to blow up the play from the interior and force a Winston fumble. For Hayner's series, he completed both passes. The first play was a hookup to Jake Bogus in the flats for a short gain. He tried Kirk Merritt on the stretch play left, but Jake Heflin forced a tackle for a loss. The second pass attempt was a completion to Lynn Bowden Jr. off the boot right for a short gain. The last play was a toss to Kendre Miller that went for a nice gain, as it had Lewis Kidd in the front making some nice lead blocks. Now, the team, which was the end of the game situationals that they was working on, last bit of work we saw was the situational football as the Saints went down. They were down 30-28 and had a $1:15 on the clock to try to set up a game-winning field goal attempt. Here's how the sequence played out. Derek Carr at a $1:15. He had a completion to Jimmy Graham short. 59 seconds incomplete deep right through Olave. 53 seconds incomplete to Jamal Williams. 48 seconds incomplete to Chris Olave. Then the illegal substitution call on the defense, fresh set of downs for the offense. 41 seconds, complete curl to Jimmy Graham for an intermediate gain. 28 seconds, complete right side short to Jimmy Graham, Zach Bond in coverage. 22 seconds, Carr run right for a small gain. 16 seconds, complete intermediate hookup to Taysom Hill with Alontae Taylor there. 6 seconds, they spiked it, and then with 6 seconds, they kicked a 45-yard field goal that was good by Will Lutz. So anyway, that's how the situationals worked out for Carr. For Jameis, he went 4 of 6 there with a $1:15 in his situationals. Incomplete curl to Taysom. $1:11, complete curl route to Taysom. 57 seconds, complete right to Taysom, intermediate gain. 51 seconds, complete short middle to Taysom. 36 seconds, complete short to Adam Prentice, the fullback. 18 seconds, incomplete deep right sideline to James Washington. And with 10 seconds remaining, he had a run short left by Ellis Merriweather, DeMarco Jackson there. And with 4 seconds, they kicked a 49-yard field goal by Will Lutz. Jake Haener in his situationals. In $1:15, he complete the curl route to Shaq Davis. $1:04, he complete the crossing route left, right, intermediate to Shaq Davis again with Adrian Fry in coverage. 49 seconds, complete right short to Foster Monroe. 36 seconds, complete sideline left to Shaq Davis. 30 seconds, complete to the flat to Jimmy Graham with Nico Lalos running around. 12 seconds left, he had a throwaway to the right side. 8 seconds, run short left by Kendre Miller. 4 seconds left, they kicked the 47-yard field goal by Will Lutz as the Saints worked the situationals. A couple of notes and observations. And this is by his notes. He says, here's the quarterbacks in training camp. The passing is based on team drills only. Derek Carr is 64 of 94 for 68%. Jameis Winston is 58 of 89 for 65%. And Jake Haener is 51 of 71 for 72%. So there you go for that. Dennis Allen said that he feels like this interior line is a lot more athletic compared to the previous years. That's good to talk about. We'll get more into it from what Dennis was saying. Colin Sanders talked about the chip everyone is playing with. We'll play his interview. He referred to the interior guys as dancing pandas. That's a perfect analogy for him, because I would say that definitely fits Colin Sanders. He's a dancing panda. As mentioned the other day, we've seen Demario Davis and Andrus Peat around the facility, so there's reason to be optimistic there. Pete was doing some workouts while the team was practicing, which is a good sign on him getting back on the field. Yeah, that's good too. Well, we're looking at Demario. He said it's next year, but there's a real possibility that the Saints training camp moves from Metairie. It's not related to the heat, but more about the renovations going on around the team's facility. We'll see. And he said, well, where would they move from Metairie? Perhaps they'll practice somewhere else. Perhaps they'll practice uptown in Tulane. There's Tulane has a good little practice facility over there. They can go over there and work out with them and go over there. They like going over there. Pretty cool over there. It's real tight over there, though, man. It's a small area and all this kind of stuff, but it's nice over there, man. All right, so anyway, one of the Saints Texans joint practice is supposed to be inside the Superdome, but it was closed practice to the public. So that's pretty interesting because usually the Saints, when they go to the Superdome, they have at least one practice where you can see them out there doing it. We went to the one last year, was actually pretty good. Pete Werner said it has been weird not having Demario Davis around, talking about his energy he brings to the room in practices. Werner's handling some of the defensive call responsibilities as well as DeMarco Jackson, which is a blessing in disguise, as these guys, without Demario Davis in there, they got to pick it up. Blake Gillikin handled his punts, and you can see his official hang times are right there. For those who don't know, the team moves the punts up every play after starting from deep inside their own territory. Gillikin spoke about practice, about how he dealt with injuries last year. He made it a point to call Taysom as the best personal protector out there. Punt return is on a day where Kiki Coutee, Lynn Bowden Jr., Hugo Amadi, and Alante Taylor. So like we saying, the top two guys battling for the spot, Kiki Coutee and Lynn Bowden Jr., no real take on exactly who's ahead. Look like they're about what and what early on in camp. We'll see as we get into the preseason matchups. Will Lutz was Monday today he's making 3 kicks from 40+ yards when the team was down 2 and made it down the length of the field to simulate putting the game on the line. He had a solid day. He was 9 for 9, improves to 41 and 44 for training camp. Lou Headley was the holder. So that's good for Will Lutz to hear that he's going back to his elite kicking self that we are so accustomed to seeing. So that's some of the Camp Day 12 notes. Shout out to John Hendricks of the Saints News Network for being very thorough, always a very thorough man with how he breaks things down. Appreciate you, brother John. All right, let's keep it moving, man. Let's go on to another good guy over there. It's Bob Rose there. And he talked about Saints could seek other options at the running back position. Now, to talk about it, family, the situation with the running back with Kareem Hunt, that he did go up to Indianapolis, meet with them and all this kind of stuff, and no contract was signed. So this thing is still not done, even though I think there probably is a better option locally that I would like, and Bob talks about it in this article. Saints could see other options at the running back position. Saints have already visited with free agent running back Kareem Hunt. If unable to sign him, there are other possibilities that you can put back there with the Saints. Running back room. Saints brought in free agent Kareem Hunt to work out Monday, and he just actually, according to Nick Underhill, said he just talked to him. There wasn't much of a tryout or workout or whatever. Well, Kamara serving 3-game suspension to start the season with Eno Benjamin out for the year with the Achilles injury. It seems clear that Saints want another veteran presence in the backfield. Number 28 will be a terrific fit in this offense. He's a productive power back with good receiving skills and has been unselfish throughout his career. However, reports surface that Hunt is seeking more than just a veteran minimum contract that the Saints are looking to give him. That's pretty much what it is. If the Saints get impatient, they may turn to one of the other available backs and free agents. Yes, former Viking running back Delvin Cook is still available. However, Cook is seeking a starting job and the type of contract that goes along with it. With off-season additions, Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller already on the roster, and Kamara just out for 3 games, New Orleans isn't really an realistic scenario for Cook, and I agree with that. Here are some other backs the Saints might take a look at if they don't, deal with Kareem Hunt. And, of course, you see right here, Leonard Fournette. North-South battering ram running back, can catch the ball out the backfield, will play for the vet minimum, is here locally. People are not beating down his doors, so you can get him at a premium. You can get him cheap. He fits the culture. He fits the running back room to a T, and he could be a guy that you can bring in. Louisiana legend, St. Aug star, LSU star, won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Skunkaneers. And only thing left to do with Leonard Fournette is to make him a New Orleans Saint that will complete his terrific career as a football player. To have him just put the helmet on and all that. So I'm really pushing for this, Saints, to go ahead on and talk to Leonard Fournette and see what you can make happen, And like I said, I think you can. I mean, you just need a third string running back, a veteran back in there. Leonard Fournette makes a lot of sense. And, of course, 28 years of age. And then you have Benny Snell, 25, J.D. McKissick, 29, and Darrell Williams, 28. And about Fournette, graduate of St. Aug High School, former LSU star, Fournette may be the favorite among certain portions of Saints family members. the 4th overall choice in 2017's draft. Had a mercurial career, rushing for just under 4,500 yards with 34 touchdowns, adding 312 catches for just over 2,200 yards and 7 touchdowns doing that. He's coming off a 668 rushing yard performance and 3 touchdowns with the Bucks with 3.5 on the carry. He also has 72 catches for a career high with 523 last year. 6 feet, 230 pounds. Leonard Fournette still has good power between the tackles, solid vision in the open field, looks to have lost some burst, but is also an excellent receiver out the backfield. Fournette would have to accept a lesser role with the Saints, but would bring some solid power and versatility in a guy that knows what he's doing in the building. Could you imagine? Well, all the things the Saints have done that surprise us, the Jimmy Graham returning, all these fantastic assistant coaches that they signed, all the stuff that they did in the offseason, the terrific draft. And then on top of that, toward the back end of free agency before, during camp free agency, to be able to pull in here and say, hey, man, we signing Leonard Fournette to the team for the 3. That would be a phenomenal move that would excite a lot of family members throughout the region. All right, so I'm pushing for that, man. So hopefully we can get that done. Snell is coming off a career low 90 rushing yards in 22 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 4th-round pick out of Kentucky in 2019. He averaged 3.6 yards per carry over his career. With 982 rushing yards over 4 years with the Steelers, Snell was a complimentary power back. However, his usage statistics have declined since his 426 yards on the ground as a rookie. He also offered little as a receiving, catching just 17 passes for 114 yards. He's 5'10", 224 pounds, and is a prototype power back. He's not a true number 1 option, but he could be effective as a situational player in short yardage and goal line packages. All right, who's next? How about another one? McKissic. He was carved out a nice NFL career on being drafted out of Arkansas State in 2016. He played with 4 different teams over his 7 seasons, but he's earned a role wherever he goes. He just runs hard. All right, McKissic had in his 2022 campaign with Washington cut short because of a neck injury. He rushed for over 1,000 yards, but had 220 catches for 672 yards and 11 touchdowns in 5 seasons where he played at least 8 games where he averaged 44 catches. Like Snell, McKissic is a situational player, albeit for a different role. He provide a legitimate receiving threat out the backfield and able to spread opposing defenses horizontally and vertically. A graduate of John Eric High School in Louisiana, a former LSU standout, Williams, another familiar player to the Gulf Coast region. He appeared in 6 contests for the Cardinals last season, rushing for 102 yards, catching 4 passes for 9 yards. Before landing in Arizona last year, he was a solid complementary piece for Andy Reid's a Chiefs attack. In his first 4 years with the Chiefs, in he had 912 yards on the ground, caught 83 passes for 762 yards and 14 touchdowns. He was especially big in the Chiefs' march to the Super Bowl, rushing for 130 yards in their 2 AFC playoff wins. Williams wouldn't be a flashy option, but would be a versatile piece in the back, demanding Kansas City in a demanding Kansas City offense. He could be a valuable addition as a change of pace back, especially earlier with Kamara being out. So Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller expected to get the bulk of the backfield snaps during Kamara's suspension. Once he returns, it's like a lethal trio for opposing defenses. The depth is important at any position. It's clear the Saints feel this way with their interest in Kareem Hunt. He's the best option still available. However, Fournette, Snell, McKissic, and Williams could all be situational value. Or bring it if a deal with Hunt cannot be reached. So shout out to Bob dropping the scoop. Which one of these guys you guys like? Me personally, I would have to say Leonard Fournette makes a lot of sense to me because of the point that Leonard Fournette is a local legend as a running back perspective, and it kind of put the cap on the career with him. For him to don the black and gold, he should have did it during his time. Really, we should have went and got him when he was a free agent. We messed around, let Tampa Bay get him, and he hurt us in that playoff game too. He really did. He hurt us bad. But anyway, having an opportunity to get him this year with all of those fantastic things that's going on with the Saints would be pretty fantastic, don't you think? All right, so let's keep it moving. Of course, they did allude to it and make mention of this move. The Saints officially said it and put it out there. They announced today that they re-signed tight end J.P. Holtz and waived injured guard Coda Martin. That's what by Mickey Loomis. He dropped the scoot. Now Holtz is 6'3", 255, was signed by the Browns as a free agent back in 2016. He appeared in 50 regular season games with 10 starts for Washington, the Bears, and the Saints, recording 7 receptions for 91 yards. Not much of a catching tight end, mostly a guy that appeared on special teams. And in 22, he appeared in 6 games with the Saints, recorded no statistics. In 4 games with the Panthers from 2012 to 15, he had 81 catches for 31 yards and 11 touchdowns. So J.P. Holtz is back with the Saints. And of course, you realize Colton Martin's on the injury list. And the reason why he's here is because Lucas Krull had a tailbone issue too. So the Saints are just doing what they do. All right. So anyway, fam, let's keep it bucking and moving and go to the next one. We'll react to Dennis Allen talking about camp. Here we go.
Injured offensive lineman Coda Martin. Back out there today, got some more situational work, 2-minute, down 2 at the end of the game, and I thought we executed good offensively. Little bogus call by Riz on the illegal substitution, but listen, you never know what's going to happen in the game. We've had a few bad calls around here at times, so fire away with the questions.
Was that heat an issue today, would you say?
I don't think so. I mean, it's hot, but I think our guys are really kind of acclimated to it, so I don't think it's as much of a factor.
Will that be the last outside practice you probably have at this training camp here?
Well, I wouldn't say the last one, but we're not gonna be outside a lot if it stays as hot as it is right now.
Dennis has a report about looking for other training camp opportunities next year. Has this camp been crazy record heat? Not just New Orleans heat, but even by our standards, it's been hot. Does this sort of tell you maybe it's not meant to be here, or how do you feel about it?
I don't think the heat's really the big factor. We've got an indoor facility that we can work out in. I think there's, the potential for us, to be doing some renovations on the facility. And so nothing's been determined, nothing set in stone. But yeah, it's something that we might consider.
Dennis, with that being said, if it's still hot when the Texans come to town and you have basically 2 practices at once, aren't you almost forced maybe those couple of days to be outside?
Well, I think we're going to practice outside for one day, and we may go to the dome for another day. We were thinking about you with that, Bobby. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love the AC.
Do you have a preference? You've been here for the Greenbrier and Millsaps and getting away and being here. Do you have a preference?
Not Millsaps. not Millsaps, but yeah. Look, I mean that's a long way away, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But there's a lot of stuff that has to happen between now and then.
Are there soft tissue considerations about practicing indoors?
Not really. I think the soft tissue, generally you think of it a little bit more in terms of being outside, hydration, being able to replenish all your fluids. So I think that's a little bit more of a challenge. And then really you were just talking about load management, and, there's a lot that goes into that scientifically. I don't want to get into that because that's really not my area, but yet that's an area that I pay a lot of attention to and trying to look. You're going to have soft tissue injuries. It's training camp. You got to be able to get your work done, and there's a lot of work that has to be done. So it's part of it. We're trying to minimize it as much as we can.
Has it been more than normal this year?
It's actually been less than normal.
That's a good, and true be told, we did lose a couple of people. But Rashid Shaheed, and we're talking about soft, tissue injuries, but injuries overall for the camp, you're looking at it and you see impacting ones like Rashid Shaheed's groin issue, and they talk about having him out for multiple weeks, but it shouldn't impact him going into the regular season. We're far off from that right now, so at least just over a month before we get into regular season. So that's a plus. But a degree of physicality will ratchet up or ramp up because of the fact that the Saints will be going up against other teams in practices and also during the preseason where they're going to be looked to kind of just beat on each other. So we just have to do a good job. And I know Dennis Allen said that he's going to play his first team. But the Saints, if they keep doing what they're doing, and just insofar as just filling in, if guys get hurt and they're just being proactive, going out and finding other guys and bringing them in as fast as they can to kind of help them out with, with their depth concerns. That's the way to do it. And I can see the Saints, they'll reach the guys out there that they've had dealings with before and bring them in here. So it'd be a easier transition. Like JP Holtz was here last year. Lucas Krull has the tailbone issue. Call JP Holtz, bring him in here. He's familiar. He can just get right in there and just be blocking and doing whatever he's doing. So let's just hope the injuries stay down, but it's a part of the game. But he's right. It appears like last year it was hot, but we didn't have heat advisories, every damn day. So that's the point.
We asked you about Jordan Howard the other day, but what is it that makes him a good fit for that dime role? I know he's been getting a lot of looks in the first time.
Yeah, look, I think we're trying to throw a lot at him to see how much he can handle. That position, has to be, it's really more of a sub down position, more of a passing down position, and so there's some coverage flexibility that you're allowed when you have the extra DB on the field, and so we're gonna look at some guys that maybe can fill that role for us. That's a role that Tyron's filled for us in the past, and we're going to continue to look to see if there's anybody that can help in that area.
And then along the same lines, I mean, I know Zach Bond has probably gotten a lot of snaps based on seniority and experience, but is he taking advantage of them, and is he earning?
Yeah, look, I think Zach's done a really good job. I think his best fit right now is at the Sam linebacker position. When we drafted him, we knew that he could play that. I think we're still a little bit of a work in progress off the ball. And look, I would say this: I'm looking to see who's the next off the ball backer behind DeMario and Pete. And I don't have that answer right now. So that's what this training camp's about, and that's what the preseason games are going to be about.
Yeah.
Indeed, and that's what we're looking at too. Who's the next guy in line? Who's the next guy in line? Indeed, because if DeMario Davis has an issue, and we know he's been playing all the way through, but if DeMario gets banged up, God forbid, this upcoming year, and Pete Werner can't stay healthy because the last couple of years he's had some issues staying healthy, who's coming in there to lock down the interior of the defensive line? I mean, the linebacker position, pardon me. You got DeMarco Jackson, who's basically a rookie. He missed all of last year with an injury. Zach Bowens hasn't proven to us that he is that guy that we thought he was when they drafted him with the third pick in the draft several years ago. And, of course, behind him, there are a lot of untested guys with potential, yes. There's guys like Nephi Sewell that's trying to make an impression. There's Nick Anderson and Anthony Orji. Those guys are there. So there are some other people there, but, that's why the Saints, you bring in a guy like Anthony Barr or a veteran linebacker who you can lean on if injuries impact the linebacker room. So, yeah, that's a lot of questions there. DeMarco Jackson's interesting. He's been playing pretty well in camp, but still in all, like you said, that's what camp's all about.
We haven't talked about a lot. Lonnie Johnson, does his versatility, obviously he's played outside, he's played safety, does his versatility make him kind of an attractive fit?
Yeah, look, he's a guy he's made some splash plays in this camp, and so I like his athleticism. I like his size. I like his range. And he's, the key for him really is going to be getting the defense down pat, to where you trust putting him in different situations. And so from an athletic standpoint, he's fully capable of doing anything that we ask him to do. And now it's how much can he absorb and how much can he retain to where he's out there on game day being able to do more than just one job.
Yeah, so you say Malcolm Roach has had a good camp at this point. How would you sort of say where he is maybe in his career and how he's done?
Yeah, look, I think he's had a good camp. He gives us a little bit of athleticism at the nose position rather than just the big, stout A-gap to A-gap player He's a guy that does have some versatility in that he can play nose, he can play three, and he's got, for a nose, he's got some pass rush ability. So I like where he's at. He's probably a little bit lighter than where he's been in the past, probably a little quicker than where he's been in the past. He's a guy that man, he just comes to work every day and he works his tail off, and he's gotten a lot better.
Have you been happy overall with?
That's pretty interesting about Roach. Always like Roach, very athletic player. The Saints re-signed him on a 1-year deal. They definitely like what he brings to the interior defensive line. He can do both. What's interesting too is like, even though Dennis Allen saying that he's having a pretty good camp, I agree with that. But really, when you talk about guys inside, like if I talk about guys that really been splashing to me, that's really been stepping up, Tanu Passanio has been really having a good camp up to this point. He's really been just, at every practice, pushing the pocket, getting there off the edge, doing whatever they want. And as he's healthy, he's been really dominant. So, yeah, shout out to Roach. But Passanio is a guy that really been looking good too.
The inside D-line group?
Yeah, look, I've been happy with the D-line group overall. I think we're playing stout in there. I think we've got some guys that have some ability to rush the passer inside, and I think that's a really important thing in our league, having guys that can rush the passer inside, get the quarterback off the spot, not let the quarterback step up, and so I've been pleased with that.
Be more explosive.
That's the point of emphasis for the Saints this year too, to stop Dennis Allen right there. It was a point of emphasis for the Saints to push the pocket inside. That was a big thing. We knew that, we often focus on the edge rushers or guys, Cam kind of got a little offense about that early on in this offseason, about defensive end, balanced guys that can play the run and pass, that can play the run and rush the passer and get to the quarterback. Another dimension that we don't really talk a lot about from our perspective is getting the push from internally, from inside of from the middle of the defensive line through the middle of the offensive line. Because what that does is that's the worst type of pressure that any quarterback, that's the worst pressure. Like you can have a guy like Cam that rushes from the outside and flushes the quarterback out to the opposite side from Cam. But there's really not anything that you can do if you're a quarterback. If you're getting pushed from the center of the pocket, it just destroys everything. It flushes them out right into the arms and makes life easier for the defensive end. So, when you talk about Colin Sanders, Nate Shepard, you talked about Malcolm Roach and guys, and Brian Breesy, guys like that are creating hell on the inside of the interior of the offensive line by creating pressure, making life a lot easier for Cam, Peyton Turner, Isaiah Foskey, Carl Granderson. That's a big part of the game. So if the Saints can consistently produce that inside pressure, this will be big for the Saints defense this year.
The interior than you maybe have.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we're a little more athletic than where we've been in the past.
I agree with that. They are very
Is there a
athletic.
trade-off with that in run defense or no?
No, because I think we didn't go out and get just a bunch of little guys that are quick and explosive. We've got big guys that still can play with power. So, but they've got the ability. They've got a little more twitch and a little more athleticism inside than what we probably had.
I agree with Dennis Allen on that too, because when you looked at Kalen Saunders and you looked at Nate Shepard and Brian Breesy on film, their games are all very similar. So you can see the Saints were looking at a template of what they were trying to look for in terms of a defensive interior lineman. And we talked about when you see what happened to David Onyemata, Shai Tuttle, and Kentavious Street last year, they wanted the opposite of that. They want guys that fight every down, guys that are athletic and big, that move and all this kind of stuff. Kalen Saunders, I'm going to play him next. But, yeah, he's the ultimate term for a dancing panda. This guy is only 6 feet tall. He's 330-something pounds. And he doesn't look like or move like a 330-pound man. He don't. He's extremely agile. He attacks in straight lines. He gets there. His speed is surprising. When he can't get to you, he is always, he waits for plays to develop. He's always looking in the backfield. And these guys fight every damn down whether it's, a run or pass, whatever. And when you got guys like that, and the Saints can create a good rotation of guys like that moving in and out, this is going to be very interesting for the Saints defensive line. Yes, they are all very athletic and big people. And then when you talk about adding a guy like Isaiah Foskey in the mix, who's super athletic, who's also about 6'5" or so, who can get up and down and do his thing. Granderson 6'5". So, you got some big guys that are athletes that's moving. And so that's the big part of the Saints. Remember, the Saints defensive line last year was looked upon as being the weakest link there because they just couldn't hold up on most games. But this doesn't seem to be the case this year. The Saints did a wonderful job in handling the business as far as that's concerned. Let's jump to Big Colin Sanders and hear what he's saying about today's practice. Here we go.
Really happy with the interior D-line and the D-line on a whole. How do you feel about the group? What do you like about the group?
I think the biggest thing that I like is that we got a lot of unproven guys. Obviously everybody knows Cam, but behind that, you can't really name too many people who's established in this league. So I think that hunger is what's going to be our driving force. Everybody in the NFL is athletic and everybody's fast and strong. Guys say, "Oh, I got a second contract," but I don't even look at it like that. I look at it as like, I want 2-3 more contracts, and I want to play as long as my body will allow me to. And I think that everybody on this D line, including Cam, you see, he just re-signed, and that just shows you like he has no signs of slowing down. He's a great leader to follow behind as far as all of that. So, man, I think that, I love how this group's coming together. We got a bunch of hungry guys that have the talent to do it. And, there's no reason that, we can't have 4 all-pros, all, Pro Bowl guys out of that room. So I'm excited for this year.
Colin, how pleased are you that you're being allowed to do things that you probably felt like you could do but weren't necessarily asked to do?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Obviously, you want to be able to help the team in ways that they want you to. But like you said, when kind of your abilities and stuff like that, I wouldn't say frustrating because, I've always been a team first guy, and I'm always going to do whatever the team needs me to do in order to win a game. But definitely, just being able, having those abilities and being able to actually showcase and use them more here is definitely beneficial for me. I've been having, a lot of fun playing the game, just being able to get out there, use the athleticism that got me to this point, got me in the NFL in the first place. And yeah, it's definitely a different role, definitely a different experience, but I've been enjoying it.
Can you speak on just the athleticism of that defensive interior as a whole? As like Super Z, pretty quick off the ball today.
Yeah. I don't think we have. I'm the biggest guy on the D line, and I know I'm an athlete. So if that just goes to show, like, all of our guys, man, we got a bunch of dancing pandas in there, and a lot of guys, quick, nimble on their feet. Brazil is, I always call him a big kid, man. He's just a big Gerber baby out there, man. Just 6'5" Gerber baby, man. But he can move really well off that ball. Got a great get off, man. I've been with a guy in Chris Jones who it's rare to have that type of get off in that frame. And then, like you said, to speak to all other guys, starting with, me and Nate. Nate is, he is a go guy. He's going to get north and south. He's going to throw his moves. I love playing with an aggressive 3-tech like that because it makes my job that much easier, being able to wrap and all of that. Then you got Roach. Roach is, man, the ultimate swing guy. He can play 1, he can play 3. He's going to do them both effectively, powerful, but super quick, can get out of there. He came over to my house a couple nights ago, and we was watching his linebacker film coming out of college. And so I was like, man, I can see why. And then going down to Brazil, obviously, like I said, just huge, nimble, can bend really well for that size. And then Prince, Prince, I don't think he lost a one-on-one today. And he's quick off his feet, even though he's smaller like me, but still can regenerate power from moving fast. Hef, man, super strong hands, gonna move you out the way whether you want to or not. He got those hands that, just keep going. And then Cage is putting it together, and I'm happy to see him. That's one of my young prodigies, man. I took under the wing as soon as we came in, and I think that he's showing a lot of promise too. So I mean, like I said, every guy in there has been showing nothing but promise, and one thing I preach when I come in is that there should be no drop off between the ones, the twos, and threes, and I think we're seeing that. I mean, you can put those 3 guys in there against the ones, and it won't be too much of a drop off.
All right, that was a good breakdown he went through the entire interior defensive line room, and he didn't mention Passanio because I guess Passanio, they've been using him more outside than inside. But he mentioned Jaren Cage was the guy that I was very impressed with when I watched his film, and he said he's taking him under his wing. But that's very interesting. He talked about, but like I said about the Saints interior guys, we talk about Malcolm Roach and he mentioned Nate Shepard, who fights for everything. They're very similar. It's a template that the Saints did to find these guys. It's a template. You have Colin Sanders and Nate Shepard and Brian Breesy, and these guys are fantastic, big athletic guys that are very thorough. They're very they're just they won't stop. They're relentless. That's the mindset. He makes the great point about drop off. Now, and it's just going to be interesting to see how it all ferrets out. I know everybody ain't gonna get a job, but I've been hearing about Jack Heflin been just really doing an excellent job in camp as well. So let's get back to him.
From your running back. Yeah, that's exactly right.
yeah. Me and Roach, we sitting there looking at highlights and stuff, and man, we got a unique interior. Our noses is everything but noses. So, but we can play it though, and that's what makes it good.
Is Sunday going to be a lot more fun than coming out here in the heat every day?
Oh man, I ain't gonna lie. I've been enjoying the heat. This is the best shape that I've ever been in my life. And just like, for example, I ran after practice voluntarily today. 3 years ago, Colin Saunders would not have been doing that. And so it just goes to show, man, this heat is really, I feel like it's a plus. Like it gets me in shape, man. It got me feeling good. I actually have asthma, and my asthma has been non-existent because like, I feel like I've been getting adjusted to this warm weather and getting this climate and stuff like that. And that's one thing, like, I noticed playing in really cold places like Denver, for example. Denver late in the year is like my worst enemy because it's the elevation, it's cold, it's hard to get in there, the air is really thin. And out here, it's like the opposite. Like, you breathe in, you're getting a lot of oxygen because it's so hot. Like, so I feel really good out here, man. Like I said, I ran after practice today. 2-3 years ago, I would have never even thought to do anything extra after practice. So, man, I think that this heat is different, but it's definitely a benefactor for me.
But I assume you're looking forward to Sunday.
Oh, absolutely. Being in the dome for the first time. Like, I got the privilege of coming down here 2020 when we played, but I didn't get to play. 1 and 2, it was COVID year, so wasn't nobody in the stands. So just sounded like we was playing Madden out there, like a bunch of grunting and foot shuffling and stuff. But I'm excited to see the energy of the dome and, just get back to playing some football and the fans and the energy. Training camp brings a little bit of that. We're having fans on the sidelines, and but it's nothing like, hearing that touchdown, hearing AK cross that goal line, and hearing the Who Dat Nation go crazy. So I'm ready to hear that.
All right, that's Kalen Saunders, man. Love hearing from the brother, man. 2 championship rings, and this is your starting nose tackle. Dennis Allen feels good about the team that he's assembled. I'm feeling pretty good about them as well. And of course, we realize that as we get into the season, that is one of the major things that the number one thing, outside of can the Saints, keep or contain the mobile QB threat. That's one of the things, that's been an Achilles heel for us for a while. But one of the biggest things from this past season is can the Saints lock down and not allow people to run on them interiorly speaking like they did last year. And I think when you had a guy like Colin Sanders and Nate Shepard and Brian Breesy and Malcolm Roach there, and ultimately I think you probably have Tano Passanio's circle in there and stuff. But I love what the Saints are, the mesh that they've put together here. And I'm just thinking at the end of the day, I'm thinking all of the fantastic stuff that they did on offense and defense ultimately will pay off. As you can see, Dennis Allen in his camp has been very relaxed. He's been positive. He's been joking with people because he don't have it's not the same amount of stuff that was going on with him last year. This year, he has his coaches and staff. A lot of the guys are handling the responsibilities, which is freeing him up to be more free. He's listening and taking counsel from his under coaches more. So it's more of a relaxed and cordial and smiley, positive Dennis Allen as opposed to uptight, not knowing what to do, that type of guy. So, yes, it's very interesting to see that happen and with all the things that they've done. And it's only a matter of time. You got, 30-something days before the first regular season game kicks off and the Saints take on the Tennessee Titans. So we got to get through these preseason games. We got to stay healthy and ultimately let's march on to victory. All right, so let's get ready to end the stream on that, fam. Let's recap. And, of course, we covered the Saints training camp day 12 notes from the Saints News Network. We also covered the running back options for the black and gold as presented by Bob. Shout out to him and Jimi Hendrix. We also covered the fact that the Saints did add J.P. Holtz and put Coda Martin on the street. They waived him with an injury designation as well. So, they I guess they didn't have a picture of him. They put a random helmet of the they do that from time to time, just messing. Anyway, Dennis Allen, we reacted to his interview for day 12, and Colin Saunders spoke about the Saints defensive line. So with that being said, fam, listen, we're going to get ready to get out on that. To the family members, shout out to you. Please feel free, family, to sign up to the email list. Please feel free to also join the movement here at the Pro Media Network, PRO Media Network, and subscribe or join our membership. Shout out to some of the family members, new ones that join our YouTube membership family, or go on to patreon.com/PRO Media Network and join. And you're helping build and actually fund the movement. So we dump all of that back into the platform for people, all kind of stuff that we're doing that's very positive as well. So I'm gonna get ready to get out on that. Shout out to the fam. Tomorrow, Thursday, will be Who Dat Nation United Thursday. So y'all be on the lookout for that. That's another positive thing we've been doing. Check in, and like I said, lock in to WhoDatDaily.com. Go there and share all the articles, man. Help us out by getting the word out on the WhoDatDaily.com. That's the Who Dat Nation. It's the community. This is our writers and staffs covering several different sports out there, and help us out by sharing their articles and putting it out there, man. Much love to the fam. Listen, I'm going to holler at y'all on the flip side tomorrow, man. So much love. Y'all guys keep y'all heads up, and we'll be back at you. Much love, and Who Dat now.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this, and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this, and I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
is the platform's store, where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport